Okay, so for all the experiments and demonstrations beyond this, we are going to be using LyeCalc.com. So you can simply Google it or go to that address. So let's walk through how we're actually going to use this tool. It is set in the advanced rather than the beginner so that we can walk through and explain every detail of our formulation. So the first section is going to be oils. So this is where you're going to add any of the oils or fats you are going to use in your recipe. You can either search or you can simply scroll through the list and pick what you would like. Now you are not necessarily going to find milks in this because the milks are used for water replacement, not fats and oils. So for our first example and demonstration in the next video, we will be using olive oil. So let's go ahead and select that just to show you how it adds. Once you click add, it shows up over here. Now in section 2 for lye and weight, this is where you're going to determine how you're weighing your ingredients. So in soap, we measure everything by weight, not volume. So you can use grams. You will be using ounces or pounds. Now for ounces, it's going to be weight ounces, not floral ounces. So for making soap, you're going to need a scale to actually weigh them out. I tend to generally use ounces. However, the recipe and the formula, once we're done, will show you either one. So then you're going to want to choose the lye type. So this gives you the option of NaOH, which is sodium hydroxide, and used for making solid soap bars, or KOH, which is potassium hydroxide, and that is used for liquid soaps. We will be using sodium hydroxide for the solid cold process bars going forward. Superfat percentage is what percentage of the fat in your formula you don't want to break down during the saponification process, which is the chemical reaction of lye breaking apart the oil or fat, triglycerides, to make the soap. You will notice that as the superfat is increased, the lye decreases. So let's put an oil amount in here so you can see how that happens. So let's go ahead and zero out our superfat here, and it starts with a 0.53 for the lye. As we increase it, you're going to see that lye amount start to decrease. So as the superfat increases, the lye amount decreases. So for water, this application presets the percentage of oil weight to 38%, and that is a good starting point, so we'll use that in future demonstrations. We can adjust the water discount value here, which takes, as it increases, it changes the quantity of water by decreasing it to discount that from the original amount. So you'll see the batch water here is 1.52 ounces. As I increase this water discount percentage, you're going to see that that water amount slowly starts to decrease. You just need to make sure that you never end up with any less water, but about 50% of what your lye is. So you don't want less water than your lye. For the recipe settings, if you have an account, you can actually make private or create a recipe template so that way you can save these and look at these later. Okay, so now let's look at the results sections. So added oils shows you the oils in your formula, and you can adjust the quantities here as well as resize the batch. Resizing is used once you are happy with your test batch. You can simply plug in a larger size and it will automatically calculate the quantities needed for the larger batch. So for example, if your test size is 3 bars, once you're happy with it, you're ready to make a larger batch like 22 or more bars, you can simply resize the batch for the total weight that you're looking for, and it will automatically recalculate everything for you. The custom ingredients section, this is for anything else you plan to add to the bar, such as coloring, fragrance, botanicals, etc. For needed ingredients, this outlines your formula, which includes your oils, fats, lye, and water. So this is basically what your entire formula is going to be. For recommended additive amounts, so this section lets you know the quantities of common additives for your recipe, for your specific formula, and if any additional lye will be needed. We will experiment with these in later videos. For the soap properties, I particularly like how this is done visually compared to other lye calculations or soap calculators, which is why I use LyeCalc.com. So this section visually shows you how your formula will turn out as soap. You can click the recommended ranges for explanations for each of the properties. And each range in the gray area is simply a common range makers have found to be optimal. However, going outside of the ranges can still make a good bar of soap. So for INS, this is a score developed which combines the saponification or the sap value and iodine values to predict a soap's qualities. A score of 136 to 170 is considered acceptable. A score of 160 is ideal. For iodine, the lower number makes a harder, less conditioning bar of soap. The higher number is a softer, more conditioning bar of soap. So these two, INS and iodine, these two are important to determine if the soap will saponify and cure properly and indicate if the formula may need to be adjusted. Now again, you can go slightly outside of the ideal ranges. You can still make a good bar of soap, but it all depends on what your end goals for your soap bar are. So you want to always pay attention to those when you're adjusting your formulas. So your fatty acid profile explains the specific type of fatty acids in your formula. This can be important if you want to formulate soaps for specific skin issues. For example, studies have shown low oleic acid and high linoleic acid can be effective for protecting the skin barrier, therefore reducing irritation. Go the extra step and research the properties of the fatty acids in your formula. Now, the calculated values for oil preferences simply summarizes your formula and gives you more information as to what you did with the formula. If you had a super fat, it breaks down your fats from saturated, monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, your ratios, what you chose for your lye concentration, your weight in unit, and the type of soap you're making. So again, since we're doing cold process, we are doing solid bars using sodium hydroxide. If we are using the potassium hydroxide, then this would be liquid. So at the bottom, if you happen to have a profile, you can add a name and any details to your formula so that way you can repeat this soap formula or recipe whenever you would like to. Once you save it, you can actually add an image. Now this can be helpful because if you want to achieve the exact same bar with the exact same coloring and look, all these details with a picture included would be helpful in finding it again so that you can make that exact recipe. So again, this is the tool we'll be using moving forward with all of our soap experiments, slightly changing the recipe so you can see exactly what each change, each ingredient or additive does to both the soap bar in relation to soap properties and how it performs.